Hello boat fans, this is Tim from Boatshed Brighton, and this is the first in a series of short videos about the underside of your boat and perhaps what to look for when you lift your boat out of the water. So this one will be a general quick walk around, but then we'll spice it up with a few more specific ones later on during the series. So yeah, we're here with this westerly Fulmar 32. Came out of the water about 4 hours ago, and what am I looking for? Well, let's start by having a quick look at her from afar. There we go. So we're looking for a general hull shape and hull form. We're looking for dents, cracks, discolorations, damage of any kind. But at the moment I'm just really looking at her shape, because I'd soon spot if there are any bits of damage to her, because the light would reflect differently. So already I can see, for instance, along here, these two areas here and here, if you can see a slightly different shininess of the hull, and above there on the painted stripe you can see some damage there, and that's where the fenders have been rolling around over a period of years and just wearing away at the shiny surface of the boat, so it looks a little bit different. That's not a problem. That can all be polished out, but it is worth knowing, because you will have to either do it yourself or pay someone to do the polishing, so just something worthy of knowing. Now if we come back here a little bit, again we can see there's some marine growth on the gel coat there. That can probably be polished out as well, and there's a little bit more coming towards the aft end of the boat. If we look at the actual transom itself, just here, there's a bit of a spot of damage there, and also just here we can see a bit of damage here. This is where, you know, this is the back corner of the boat, so to speak. And a bit of cracking along here, some cracking here. This is the back corner of the boat, and this is one of the areas most prone to damage, because people do reverse into things at speed, things like jetties or even other boats. But those repairs are all eminently repairable, but they need to be done by somebody who knows what they're doing. And again, it's a cost, so it's worth just making sure you're happy with what those costs are likely to be. And we just carry on forwards, and again, if we look at the line of the hull, we can see where it's shiny, and we can see where it's not, or it's slightly different. And again, something's been wearing away at this part of the hull here. So we'll just look backwards again. Nice round shape, nothing that is out of the ordinary. She just needs a good clean and a good polish with the right stuff. Really nice. So let's have a look at the waterline. So around the boot topping, which is this area here, this is the join between the gel coat and the anti-foul down here. And the gel coat is the nice white shiny stuff here that we see most of the time. That's protected underwater by application of preservative paints known as anti-fouls. Generally come in blue, red, black, dark colours. They can be white though. And the idea of this is for repelling the growth of marine animals. And if marine animals aren't repelled, they try to attach themselves to this, then the way the paint works is it should dislodge and they should fall off. But more about that in a different video. So again, I'm looking at the stem of the boat. Again, prone to damage, where owners can crash into things, and you can see on this bow here we've got one or two dents, but nothing too serious. I think that looks like a bit of a past repair there, but on the underwater part looks fine for the moment. Doesn't mean something isn't hidden by these coats of paint though, so do be aware. I can see that the boat is suffering from osmosis now. Osmosis will be covered again in a different video, but it's shown by these small blisters or rashes or osmotic blisters, and they can quite often happen in clusters. If you look along the length of the boat, you can see this boat does have quite a bit of it. It's not beyond fixing, but it would be quite expensive to get it sorted out. So yeah, worth knowing. If you see little bubbles like this on the underside of your boat, get the professionals in and get them to give you their best advice. So as you can see, we've got a twin keel or bilge keel version boat here, which is lovely. We'll go to those in a moment. We're looking at the skin fittings, which is where things, generally liquids, come in and out of the boat. That's probably the head sink outlet there. And then underneath here we've got what I think is probably the head's inlet and the head's outlet. We're looking to make sure that these are in place and not loose, and we're looking to make sure that they're not corroded, and we're looking to make sure that they're not blocked. And in this case, this is a water inlet because there's a strainer designed to stop little fish or plastic bags or anything being sucked up there into the system. Let's make sure that that's nice and clean and filtering. So if you come back to, we'll just look at one of the keels. Again, stand back, have a good look. Are there any dents? Is there any damage, any cracking? Is it there? Does it look like it's attached right? Does this joint here look right? If there's a gap there, that probably means that the keel's moved or is loose. And whilst that looks fine to me, it's obvious to the plain eye that this keel is quite corroded. So what we want to see here is a nice flat painted anti-fouled keel, a little bit like that area, but preferably not discoloured. But in this case, a lot of the anti-foul has come off or been worn away. We've got marine growth and all sorts of stuff growing there, so we'd look to, I'd probably look to take that all the way back to bare metal, preserve it properly, and preserve it for future use essentially. So that's the job to be done. And as we move aft, again we're looking at the underside of the hull to make sure there's nothing sticking to it, to make sure that there aren't any unexpected flat areas or bulges or dents, etc. And that does look fine to me. And then as we come to the back, we're looking at the now sacrificial anode for this boat. Now that's worn away, and that's good news because that wearing away is designed to stop the other components, other metallic components underwater, like your propeller shaft, etc., from wearing away, which is why we call it sacrificial. And every time you lift your boat out, it's a good idea to replace that. It doesn't cost much and it can save you a lot of trouble down the line. So yeah, that is worn away and worthy of replacing, definitely. And then if we come back after the drivetrain, or the end of the drivetrain, we've got the propeller shaft coming from the engine through the stern seal, and we're looking to make sure that that's not corroded or worn away, and it's not bent, and that it looks generally in good condition as it enters the P bracket, which is this thing here, which helps to support the propeller and the propeller shaft outside of the boat. Again, we're making sure it's not loose, it looks nice and shiny, which this one doesn't, but it does underneath because we can see where it's been scraped away. And we're just looking for general indications that it's in good health, and it looks fine at the moment. The rope cutter, which is this assembly here, which you can see how it works. If I move there, again making sure that that looks like it's attached properly, that it's clear of anything. Although this is designed to cut through ropes, if something wraps around in propeller, there may be some remnants of past ropes or plastic bags around that, so we make sure that's cleaned off. And then the propeller itself, obviously you can see this one hasn't been used for a long time, so it's in a mess, but if you have a scrape away, you can see underneath here it actually looks pretty good. So with a bit of a clean, this rudder looks good. But again, we're looking at the blades themselves. We get all this stuff off, and we're looking to make sure there's no cracking, corrosion, bent rudders or nicks in the leading edges, and it just looks like a nice healthy propeller with a locking nut that's nice and tight, and preferably a locking pin in there to stop it from undoing. So that's what that's all about. And then if we move aft, finally to the rudder, we're looking to make sure that A, it's there, B, it's not damaged or hanging off. And generally damage would occur down the leading edge here. Again, it's low down in the water underneath the boat and prone to catching things underwater. So if you saw any damage here, then that might lead us to look at areas like the bearing here and this sort of area to see if the rudder's been damaged in any way or shifted in its location. So this one does look fine. Again, we've got some signs of osmotic blistering here again, so that will have to be sorted out, but other than that, it doesn't look too bad. So this is Tim from Boats at Brighton, just for a quick run around the underside of this westerly Fulmar 32 for a brief idea of what you might like to look at when your boat comes out of the water. If you have any comments or feedback or any other suggestions, please do send them in. Okay, have a nice day, and we'll speak to you soon. Bye.